some questions, Aman, but okay, he switches things up. Magnus this time with D4 this time.
Yeah, I've actually noticed that as a trend. If a player has a successful game against their opponent, they're actually the one that doesn't repeat because they know that, of course, who has been looking at that during the break the most? It's MVL. So why play and repeat something that your opponent now has just checked? Instead, play something completely different and hope to get that same good start that you had in game one.
Yeah, and Maxime going back to basics. He's playing his childhood favorite, the opening that he built a career on. I'm going to say Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, the Grunfeld defense, and they've had so many tussles in this exact opening throughout the years. I can count at least 15-20 games just off the top of my memory that they've fought out in mainline Grunfelds. And okay, Magnus gives a check with his bishop, very trendy line. Aman, do you think going into a main line like this, who do you think is going to favour?
Yeah, it's interesting. I was seeing the Grunfeld on the board here, and I was thinking to myself, wow, this is an opening I just really haven't seen at any level, let alone the top level, as much recently. I feel like it's kind of fallen out of favor. There's just openings that you can put less effort in and maybe have even better results. There's kind of more yield. And it's an opening that he knows so well. So it's such a shame to have that knowledge go to waste. So it's nice to see that he's bringing it back here. But I will say, one of those openings that has that reputation. It's old. The players know it. It's tried and true. I feel like there's nothing new here that Magnus is going to be surprised by. So it doesn't feel like an overly ambitious decision. Still, he knows it better than almost anyone in the world. So he's the guy that you want playing it.
Yeah, that's right. And I don't think he should be too worried, Maxime Vachier-Lagrave here. This bishop b5 line where white often does end up taking the black knight just to relieve some pressure on the center. It does have a bit of a drawish reputation, so maybe Magnus playing it a bit conservatively here. And nice to see Maxime bring it back, as you say. He's kind of gone away from it. He wants to be less predictable, understandably, less of a kind of sitting duck in the opening, playing all these Queen's Gambit accepted lines. But nice to see him going back to what he knows best. And okay, Magnus going for it now, not playing the safest. He steps forward with his pawn here.
Yeah, pawn to d5, and knight to e5 is the clear reaction. Knight into the center of the board. The knight on f3 is pinned, and there could even be a very, very forcing line with bishop back to e2 and lots of trades on this f3 square. The bishop on g7 would be eyeballing the c3 pawn, and I've just seen a lot of these games, David, just really liquidate, and everything seems to disappear all at once.
Yeah, looking into the future, crystal ball out, I like it. And I think very likely as well. Not sure Maxime can keep the tension too long. There's a big question here, like whether you take the bishop or the knight. Maybe knight more forcing bishop takes. There is an outside chance of white taking back with the pawn. I know it looks ugly, but if you get a bit more time, you could kick back the black knight from the center and start expanding with white. Let's see what mood Maxime is in here, but definitely in his comfort zone.
Right, and where do you think Magnus's head is at between those two decisions? If we see a capture on f3, is he looking to be ambitious with g takes, or is he just fine to play it safe and say, look, Maxime hasn't posed too much danger to me to match so far, so why don't I just keep going like this, because another draw in the final game will
has a threat here to start pushing his D pawn. Maybe he'll just take a step back and grab black's pawn first. No, he advances. Big threat to give a check and then just run through and promote. So black has to stop that.
Yeah, and the B pawn is for the taking, but there's really no rush to do so. I think the black king being cut off by the rook on the 7th rank is also very powerful. So he just wants to leave it there as long as possible. But maybe when black's pawn gets up to B3, he might grab it then.
Exactly. I mean, he can take this one. He can maybe even take the other one. I'm not sure. Or he can just advance his king and continue threatening. There we go. He drops back. He takes a timeout. And active king, extra pawn. Normally you need two things in a rook endgame, right? You need to be 2 pawns up, or you need an active piece and an extra pawn, or 2 weaknesses to hit on. But here Magnus has everything.
Exactly, yeah. Everything. The king is more advanced. The black king has nowhere to go. You can set up your king kind of in front of your pawn here, kind of heading to the d7 square. And at the end of the day, you can also give up that d pawn and kind of trade it off for maybe the 2 pawns on the king side instead. So you have every choice in front of you.
He zigzags his way in. He's going to hide in front of his own pawn. And I think the king side pawns here are just totally irrelevant. White is going to give a check now, cut the black king off even further. And I mean, he's just powerless here and be able to stop the inevitable. Once you give a check, you've already actually built a bridge. And for those of you at home familiar with the Lucina position, you normally need your rook, the white rook, to kind of guard checks from behind when king eventually pokes his head out and starts coming out from in front of its own pawn. This one is ready-made for him, Aman. It's a clearly winning position now for Magnus. This could be it.
Yep. And he already has this worked out. You mentioned the rook is already perfectly placed. Rook f4 and king e7 will be just perfect bridge building. As you said, he goes rook d4. He's got it done his own way. He's building the bridge first, and I don't think that there's any way for MVL to keep fighting here. And what a tough exit for him. And Magnus Carlsen, your winner.
There we go. Maxime Vachier-Lagrave resigns. Magnus Carlsen takes it in 3, 2.5 today, winning both of his white games in very, very smooth style. Deserving winner, Aman. I don't think we can argue with that. But it wasn't